another Water Music and Love song, or yeah, is Inspire Me. And the thing that I liked about that is going back and forth, the dude inspiring you and you inspiring the dude. So how creatively, how did you guys come up with that?
Oh yeah. So shout out to Nas because he is so amazing. No Saddam is so amazing. He actually works heavily with Smino. I just heard his voice on this song because he's so melodic, but it was just a love story again of me wanting to feel that enchantment, the instrumental, Stepchild, just the way he orchestrated that beat just made me feel inspired. And so I'm like, no, like I want somebody that's gonna make me be the best version of myself. Sometimes we don't always show up as the best version of ourselves, but that's okay. And sometimes you have the luxury of meeting people that see you and your imperfections. And see that as opportunity to let you know, like, hey, you're beautiful just the way you are. Or like in that song, I said, like, he driving to Inglewood, like he don't care if them bullets is flying. So it's showing like I'm not where I want to be, but you still treat me and see me as the person that I envision, and you still coming to see me in the middle of Inglewood violence. So it was just me wanting to manifest that type of love in my life because I feel like when you do, you are so blessed. We created that song in my living room with a red light. Like it was a red light just beaming the whole night. And we like, yeah, like we just gonna vibe out and and create this space and time where you just like so in love and you feel like you want to be the best you because this person bring it out of you.
Yeah. And I think too, the song also shows how you can and with the right people around you, whether it's a partner or a friend or whoever, that it can help you reach higher levels too, which I
Mhm.
thought was interesting. And tied into that, speaking of reaching higher levels, was Eyes Wide Open when you were talking about how you were woke since Lauryn, told us what happened. So
Mhm.
I have my ideas of what that might be, but specifically, what were you referring to, and how did that affect you?
Oh yes. That last album, that unplugged album that Lauryn Hill gave us, where she was pretty much trying to let us know about her struggles, her inner struggles, the things that she had went through, even just being a part of the Fugees to just being in front of the TV screen. Um, she was telling us, and people really went in on Lauryn Hill for not being perfected. But I think that album was just beautifully created from just the most sincerest part of her heart. And so, like, yeah, I've been woke. I literally been woke ever since Lauryn Hill told us about the music industry and just warning us about what's out here. I really, really love that song. Eyes Wide Open is my favorite song on the album because a lot of times people would think that you don't catch what they saying to you or what they doing to you. Um, and it might look like I'm asleep. The reason why I say like niggas think I'm asleep, but my eyes wide open, it's really because I'm such a gentle soul. I'm such a forgiving soul. I'm such a all like it's all love that you will really think you probably could pull one on me. But while you thinking that, my eyes are wide open. And so yeah, I love that. And even the words in the chorus, like devil can't come in, but you could open the door. A lot of times people use knowledge, but that don't mean that you woke. Like, are you a good person? So yeah.
Directly tied to that, I've met a lot of people that know a lot of stuff but are not very smart. So,
Exactly. And the love affair. Cause who? Freddie and her love life. Crazy. But the guy that I was dating at that time, he knew so much knowledge, but he didn't know what to do with it. And that was actually also one of the reasons why I wrote that song.
Hmm, interesting. Because I
Yeah.
thought too, more toward the beginning of the song, talking about never going backwards, that's also a constant struggle because of things that happen in life that are your decisions, but also outside forces that you might not always be able to do that. But to have that as a goal, I think is wise. But um, with influence too, that one I really liked in the sense that how you change from the whispery flow to the more urgent flow. So,
Yeah.
given that you've made or at least released dozens and you've got hundreds of songs, how like creatively, what is it about the music or about your vision for a song to where you change your flow so dramatically in the middle of the song like that?
Oh yeah. I usually sometimes I would call that random rap. Like I will be in one zone and I'll be going, then I'll be like, wait, they're not gonna expect this. Turn right, like, and I love to do that because it just commands the attention even more. Again, like I really don't like when people put me in a box and say that, oh, like this is who Freddie Also is. I always like to switch it up. And my flow, I've always been known for a very unique flow. I know a lot of rappers that copy flows, and a lot of my friends will tell me like, "Yeah, I just copied that flow. Like I just got that little flow," and I was just like, I honestly, genuinely don't know how to copy flows. Like, I don't know how to do that. I only know how to bring out of me what it's given. And that's why I never want to be put in a box because I could switch it up at any given moment. So when my producer Stepchild played Influence, I was like, oh yeah, we finna switch this up. Like they think the whole album's just gonna be that melodic, but we gonna put that one in there that is like, don't forget that we influence the culture.
Yeah, that one is definitely one of my favorites for that reason, and it was unexpected. So, congratulations.
Yes, and I actually
Pulled it off.
pushed my the singer Jazz Star. You'll see that she's prominent in the album. And I actually pushed her to rap that night. So I think it was really dope to have a singer transform into a rapper out of nowhere. Like she hasn't done that anywhere else but on my album.
Well, that's big. Now,
Yeah.
also on a Water Music and Love, one of the more interesting things too is comes to light because I had a similar thought and then I had to change perspective, not because of him, but as different things I saw where you talk about Kurt Cobain and his struggles, like that he was white money, how he's white and has money, how could he be depressed? So I remember thinking as a kid when I would see not necessarily because they were white, but people that were doing well, like, oh man, how could they have problems? Like they seem like they got everything compared to me. I wasn't poor by any means, but we didn't have extra money. So I was always like, man, they got a big house, they got this, they got that. Like, but for me, as I learned more, my perspective changed and I could see why those kids would be depressed, sad, angry, whatever. Very
Mhm.
different from other things I saw, but I could see it. So for you, um, have you has that do you still feel that way? Like, man, I don't get it at all, or do you have a additional perspective now?
Yeah, so sometimes when I write things, I say again, that's that Kanye energy. I say things to pose those exact questions that, those thoughts that you bring it up right now. So, one to think of, man, look at somebody that got all this money and privilege and they still not happy enough to choose life. But then think about people that may not have money at all, may only have just their family or barely even know what they're gonna eat for dinner, and they have happiness. So just kind of like playing with that thought process of man, see, it really doesn't matter how much you have or what you have. You can still be um, in that state of depression to the point where you actually want to lose your life. Then I'm also really playing on the white supremacy thing because from a Black mind, you know, it'll look like use your privilege to your advantage, because everyone, I feel like everyone has privilege, just like to what degree of privilege. Because even me, like I'm light skinned, I have a privilege, you somebody that's like looking at that situation from a Black mind, it's like, what, you could have did this, you could have did that, you could have did anything except for take your life. So I'm putting a mirror up to those limiting beliefs, as well as the beliefs of, you need money to be happy, or you need this amount of wealth to really like say I'm accomplished in this world. So it's really just a play on that. When it comes to Kurt Cobain and how I feel personally, like I see exactly why that man did that. I mean, the pressure, and then how you were raised growing up, then having all of that money, drug problems, just all of those things all together can really create an unfortunate situation like what happened to Kurt Cobain. And yeah, for me, it was just a play on different mindsets and how people look at things from race.
Yeah, because I got a daughter. I think you might have met her even briefly, but I tell her all the time, it's the less you need, the more you have. And it's like
Mhm.
you got to find what's important to you, but then, all that extra stuff, as I think you articulate so well in a lot of your music, it's really unnecessary. It's more, as we've detailed in this conversation, it's more of the internal value you have for yourself that then
Mm.
you can manifest into all these other things, that don't.
Yeah, because you could be looking at that person's life like, I really want this, but you don't know what comes with it. And then vice versa, they could be looking at your life and they don't know what come with it. So it's like, just be happy that you are who you are and make the best of that.
Yeah, and that's very valuable. Um, and with highs and lows too, 20G, if I'm saying his name right, like,
Yeah.
other people have said similar things, but when he's talking about kind of to this exact point of buying chains, am I still a slave? Like, it's a
Mm.
very anytime I hear something along those lines, it's always very powerful because of the materialism that traps us versus the literal chains
Yes.
that were used. So, you know, for you being an artist and being a great writer, when you hear someone like in your circles saying something like that and it happens to be on your album, like how does that inspire, push? What does that do for you creatively?
I think it pushes me to find happiness outside of materialistic things. And I think it really shines a light on just how the world works in general, where they really, and I'm saying they, but it's just interesting how you can go from literal slavery to still feeling like a slave in a system that is entrapping you in a way. So it for me, it sounds like a cry out for help to me, hearing that. Like, I can't stop. I can't stop doing this. I don't know why I'm doing this, yet I'm doing it. And I want to find freedom. I want to find happiness. But they made it so like we put all of our eggs in this one basket of this is what makes you happy. This is how you know that you succeeded if you got this. And yeah, for me, to my people, it just feel like a cry out for help of I really want to know what true happiness is. And that's the purpose of being alive, to discover that. So I don't fully like negate the process of what it takes to find yourself. I just really, and highs and lows is one of those songs where, I'm talking about being impoverished on the south side of Chicago. This is all we had. Like, And then the survival mindset that comes with living like that. My mama told me to always look my best because only the mind can be poor. But then when you coming home from school, you got to worry about, people getting shot under viaducts on Cottage Grove, or like just me living in Morgan Park, right? But on the other side of the tracks, where things look totally different from Beverly. So the grittiness of that song, I think it really accomplished that internal battle, you know?
Yeah. And with it also made me think of Can't Tell Me Nothing with Kanye when he says,
Yeah.
buy more jewelry, act more foolishly. It's
Yeah.
like it made me tie back into that. Because it's a similar type of thought. And I'd say, parallel being Chicago artists as well, but also that reality is, I think, very powerful once you not only think about it, but then articulate it. And that was one of my favorite passages on Water, Music, and Love. So,
Thank you.
that being said, too, another old thing that I'd remembered too in an article I'd read, that you were saying that poetry or rap is more challenging to you than poetry at times. Uh, is that something you still agree in? And if so, why or why not?
Oh yeah, because with poetry, I had all of this range of time and space to say whatever it is that I wanted to say. And I didn't necessarily have to rhyme. I did rhyme, but it could also be as long as I wanted it to be. And I could just go up there and just speak it. And it's so much feeling in your words when it's a cappella. Like, even sometimes when I'm on stage and I just stop the beat and I do straight a cappella, they could hear my words like so much more clear, So it's a really intimate setting where people can really get the full feel of you. But when you're rapping, you have to pack all of that up into this 16 bars or however you want to do it, but you still got to pack it up and you got to focus on the main points of the story that you're trying to tell, so that even by the end of it, people get that feeling as if they was listening to a poem. And I've learned to just love doing that, as well as being on stage. Because I remember being a little terrified with the beat because I feel like I would get lost in the beat on stage while I'm performing. But to now be on top of it and just riding that wave and then giving people that same impact and that same feeling that you would if there was no music and these are the like just a poem. I think I've mastered that.
Yeah, well, I would agree. Well, there it is. Well, Freddie, also, thank you so much for coming through the Unique Access. Anything else you want to add or I didn't ask you about before we bounce?
Oh, yeah. So, speaking of water, music, and love, if you are in Chicago on Juneteenth, because it's a celebration, and Juneteenth is on a Monday, make sure you come join us at Lincoln Hall plus Shubas. That will be a show to remember. It is my first headliner show, and we will be performing the entire album, Water, Music, and Love. So if you want to come to the show, make sure you follow me at Freddie Farted. That's Freddie with an IE on all social media platforms. And you will see that the link is in my bio for tickets. Come join me. And it was love. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, likewise. Well, thanks for coming through.
Thank you.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
It would be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.